Hey guys, welcome to this video, and today I have a special project for you guys. We're going to create our own API or application programming interface using Python. So basically this API is going to go to the Amazon website and get some details of a product that we mention. And how will we mention this product? We'll just simply give the URL to the product that we use on the web browser. So guys, let's get started. And if you remember in my previous video, I had created a Autobot bot for Pokecall using Selenium. So we'll be using Selenium this time too. So I have PyCharm open here. I'm going to create a new project. We're going to call it Amazon API, and let it be a new virtual any project, no problem. So I'm going to just create one in my 3D folders directory, a new folder. One second, let me check, is this? Yes, we're going to use my API directory, and let me change this to okay. So we're going to create our project. Okay, so our project has been created. If you look at the project files, we just in the root directory of a project, you can see we only have two folders which we will not be using right now, like it's not useful for us right now. So what we're going to do is, first we want to create a new Python file, and we're going to call it api.py. So once again, I created it in the wrong directory. Let me move it. Yes, so you wanted to you should be able to see it here. So it should basically be in the root directory of our folder. Okay, so for this we're going to need we're going to have to install two dependencies. I think one of them comes already pre-installed, but anyway. So what we're going to do is, we are going to need a package called Flask. It is used to make web apps and other it can also be used for API. So to install it, we're just going to do pip install Flask in the terminal. Oh sorry, not pip install terminal, pip install Flask. And also I'm using Python 3, and if you also have a version of Python 2 installed, then what you want to do is, just give me 1 minute. Yes, so what you want to do is, you want to write pip3 to install for the Python, for your version of Python 3. So we're just going to install Flask. So it's going to collect Flask and it's going to install it for us. Just give it a minute. Yeah, so as you can see, the Flask has been installed, and now we need two modules from Flask. So from Flask we are going to import Flask with a capital F, and we also need request. Yes, and then we also need the JSON library, like, yes, and it comes pre-installed with Python, so there's no problem with that. And now basically what we want to do is, we want to create a new app using Flask, and we're going to say Flask. I'm going to pass in double underscore name double underscore, and then we're going to create a root for our app where we can put we can set get request to our API, which will retrieve some data for us. So I'm going to call this root /API/Amazon. I'm adding this root because you can add more roots later. Let's say this one program can actually can host different APIs. Like, we're just doing one Amazon one for now, but let's say if we do one for, let's say Walmart or Best Buy or any other website, then you can host that on the same one, but just add a different root. So what we're going to just say is, we're going to define a function called Amazon API. This will be run when a request is put to this root. So then we will have to send a response. So we're going to create a dictionary called response, and we're just going to set it to a blank dictionary right now. And what we're actually going to do is so on the URL where we put the get request, we're also going to be passing in the URL to the product of which we want to get details, and that will be an argument on the URL. I'll show you how that works. So what, and the argument is going to be URL. Okay, and then what, just to, and here we will run the web scraper. Okay, sorry, this is Python, not C. Okay, yeah, we're going to run the web scraper to get the details, and then we'll be giving it back in the response. But now, just to show you how this will works, what I'm going to do is just set the URL fee URL. We're going to create a new key value pair, and the key is going to be URL, and we're going to set that equal to the URL that we got. So, and then we're just going to return response. Actually, since we'll have to be encoding all our data in JSON if you want to use it with different frameworks such as mobile and other things, we're actually going to return JSON.dumps. So what this .dumps does, it will basically encode it in a JSON format. So we're just going to encode responses to JSON in the JSON format and return that. But we haven't run our app yet, so we're just going to write this if name is equal to main. We're just going to check if it is equal to _main _. Then we're just going to run our app. So app.run, yes. Here what we can basically do is we can give it a host. Say for example, if you don't want it to run it on a local host, but you want it to be accessible by other devices on your network, then what you want to do is you're going to add your IP address here. Let's say for example 192.168.0. whatever the IP address of your device is. But since I'm just going to be running this on my computer, I'll just let it run on localhost. Also, you can also set the port. The default port is 500. So what we're going to do is, before we can run it, we're going to add a configuration in PyCharm, and it will be a new configuration Python, and then we're just going to call this Flask API. And what you want to do, okay, no, not here, sorry. What you want to do here is just select the API.py file, and then we're just going to give it a name, give the name which is going to be Flask API. So we're going to apply and okay. So now if you see here, we have the Flask API show up here, and what we can do is we can run this. So if you see the run section, you can see we have it running on, this is the URL. Okay, so now I'm going to open Google Chrome. Wow. Okay, I apparently had a YouTube video running. So I'm going to just open a new incognito tab. Yes, here, 1 second. Give me a minute. Come on. Okay, I'm just going to do this. And yeah. So now what we can do is we have to put a request. Just copy this URL which you have here. Just copy that. And after you paste this in, I want you to type API/Amazon, which is the same one which we did here, this one. And then to pass an argument, what you want to do is add a question mark, and then the parameter which is URL. So we are going to do URL and set that equal to, let's say let's look for a product on Amazon.com. Let's say Amazon Alexa, wait, what? Yeah, Alexa. So let's take this one for example, and what you want to do is just you can remove the string, the URL. You can just remove the section after ref, after the slash, and you can remove from ref, you can remove the URL from ref, and then this is all that is needed. So just copy this, and then you want to pass this in as the URL. and as you can see we get this response for the URL. So since we are not fetching any data from that website yet, so this is just returning what we passed in. Okay, and now we're going to actually write the main web scraper. So let's get started with that. So we can stop this now, and now we're going to create a new file called, and we're going to call it the scraper, or let's say yeah, we're just going to call it scraper.py. And yeah, the scraper.py, and just let me check. Yeah, and yeah, we only need one library for this, or package, whatever you like to call it. One second, let me just close this, and I want you to open your terminal again. Yeah, and now we want to install a package called Selenium. Same instructions here. If you're using Python 3 and also have a version of Python 2 installed, use pip 3, but I only have Python 3, so I'm using pip. So we're not going to install Flask, we need Selenium. So we're going to install Selenium. Okay, now we have Selenium installed. So now we're just going to import whatever we need from Selenium. So from Selenium we need to import WebDriver, and one second, let me check, do we have the exceptions? Yes, dot exception dot, we have the no such. Okay, just import common. We'll need that for some error handling in case some of the data is not present on the website. And we're just going to from time we're just going to import sleep for adding some delays if we need them. Yeah, and now we're just going to create a new function called get details. No, we're just going to call it get info, actually get info, and we're going to pass in the URL here, which will be used to get the data. So now what we actually want to do is we're going to set the basically what we're going to do is we're going to launch a browser, then go to the URL that we passed in on the get request, and then okay, about talking about get refs, I forgot something. No, we good. Okay, so we're going to add some options which we're going to use with a web browser. So we'll obviously be using Chrome, but we want to launch it in incognito, just in case you never know. So just we're going to launch it in incognito. So we're going to set options, and we're going to set that equal to WebDriver dot Chrome options. Okay, and then we want to add the incognito flag to that. So we're going to say WebDriver dot add underscore, one second. Okay, sorry, we don't need to set anything, I made a mistake. We're going to say options dot add argument, and we're going to just put a dash and an incognito, yes. And once we have done that, we can just set the browser. We're going to create a new variable called browser, which will be the actual browser which we're using. So I'll be using Chrome. Depending on what you use, this may be different for you. Chrome, and we're going to set the options to launch it. I'm going to set that equal to options. And now that we've reached here, we have one key part missing. We need to install something called the Chrome driver. So we're going to look for Chrome driver Windows. You look for that, you will see this page, downloads Chrome driver on chromedriver.chromium.org. So go there, and to know which one and to find out which one you need to download, go here and go into your Chrome settings, go to help, and go to about Google Chrome. So when you look for this, what you'll basically see is the version number here. this one. So accordingly you can download. So my version is 83.004, nay sorry, 83.0.4 103.97. so what I'm going to do is get the latest one, which is on version 83. So as you can see, this version is the latest for version 83, because this is after this comes 84, which I believe is the beta or the canary version, I'm not sure. So I'm going to download this one, and here it will give you an option for which platform you want. So because I'm on Windows, I'm going to download Chrome driver Win32. So now what you want to do is just click on this, it will open this, and there's the only one main file that we need, which is the Chrome driver. And what you want to do is just copy this and go to your API directory and just paste it in here. Also, if you want to use this Chrome driver for other projects and not just this one, what you can do is, I have a folder called B drivers, which is called browser drivers. So I also have the driver for Microsoft Edge here. So what you can basically do is just put them here, put these here, and then what you want to do is add this folder to your path. So you can just do that by edit system environment variable, search for that, and then you'll see this pop-up. Then you have to go here and then want to check your path variable here, this one. So I'm going to edit this, and you can see I have the C and the B drivers folder on my path. So then it's way easier. So I'm going to be using the one which is already on my path. So let's get done with that. So that's why you don't need to pass in the path to the executable. Else what you have to do is, you got to set the executable path and set that to the path to your Chrome driver. So I can just set it to Chrome driver.exe. I'll try both and I'll show you guys. And now what we can do is we can now get the we can open the page on our browser. So we can just say browser.get and pass in the URL that we have already passed in above. And just to give it some delay to load, we're just going to add a delay of 1 second. So now what we want to do is actually what we'll do is, we're going to use the try statement here, because let's say for any reason some details are not available on the website, because the name obviously you'll always get, so you don't need this for that. But sometimes the price may not be available because nobody is selling the product. So what we're going to do is, we're going to try something. Okay, that reminds me, if you already haven't seen the previous video on which I used for PokeCord, what we are basically doing is, we are selecting the elements using the XPath, which is a thing you can use to copy. So what we're basically going to do is, we're going to go back to the Amazon website. Okay, I'll just make this full screen, and I want you to click not F11, sorry, F12. This will bring up the Chrome developer tools, or you can just right click and say inspect element to bring it up. So what are the details we want from here? Let's see. Okay, we want this, the name of the product, and then we want the price, and then maybe yes, we want whether it's in stock or not. Basically I also actually have a mobile app. It's very simple, but basically what you do is, you give it the IP address of your server, the port number, and then you just pass in URL, so it will actually query the API and get the details. Since I'm using Flutter for that, but since you already have something called network image in Flutter, which you can just pass in a URL to an image and you can display that. So we'll also be getting the link to this picture here, or this one, yeah. And then we get that, we can actually I think that's about it. What we can actually do is get the number of ratings and the number of answered questions, but that isn't very useful, so I won't be showing it for this video. But what we can do is, we can get the manufacturer though. Yeah, we can get the manufacturer details. So to get every individual detail, what you want to do is put your cursor, you just left click once, then I want you to right click on that element and say inspect, and then let me just enlarge this a little bit, and then you see here I hover on this, it highlights. So this is a span, and this has an ID of product title. But what we're going to do is we're going to right click on this after we select it. I'm going to say copy as XPath. Let's say just do that again just in case. Copy as XPath. So what you can do here is you can try, since the name will always be there, you don't need to use this, but we're just going to call this name, and we're going to set that equal to browser dot find element. So you can find it by ID, name, CSS selector, and a lot more, but I like to use XPath. So we're going to select it by XPath, and we're going to pass in the product title XPath which we just copied. Make sure to always use single quotes to denote to pass this in, because this string actually contains double quotes, so just in case make sure you do that. And then what we actually want to do is we're going to print out name. Actually no, so now what we actually have done, we have just selected the element or found the element, but now that we need to get the details from that element. Let's say the text, I'll just show you that again. Yeah, so if you open this, you see there's a lot of empty space, and then we have the name here. This is the name here. So to get that name, we're just going to set names, and we're going to name that name dot text. And now if you print out name, we'll get the details for the name. So now I'm just going to call this function, and once again let me get the URL. Yeah, let's just copy that. I'm going to pass that in. Oh sorry, that's the wrong place. And what you want to do is just pass that in here. Another thing, if you click run again, this will still run this one, but that's not what we want to do. We want to create another configuration and create a new one, which is also going to be Python, which will be the scraper. Scraper, yes. And the script paths, do the same as you did for the other one. This is the scraper.py file. So I'm going to apply, okay. And now if we run this, you see a browser window pops up, and now it goes to this website, and now it will get these details and it will print it out here, it should at least. And as you can see, it prints out the name of the product. Okay, so this is what we can actually do for every single element. So I'll just show you how to use the try statement once, and then I'll just fast forward creating the rest of them. So we're going to try to get the price this time. So we're going to say browser dot find element by XPath, and now we need to just find the XPath from the website. So one second, yeah. So this is the price. So I'm going to just inspect this element, and you see here there's another span, and this already has the price here. So we're just going to do right click and copy as XPath again, and go back to PyCharm and just paste this in, and we're going to say price is equal to price dot text. I want to set that equal to text, and then but let's say the price is not available. Let me see if I can find you something. Let's see, headphones. Like see this one does not provide any price here. So like if you look here, you will actually not find any this what do you call any of the price. So if I copy this, and one second, yeah, if I copy this and pass this in, not here, if I just pass this one in, yeah, and then if I don't use the try statement, we should get an exception when we run this file. So when we run this, it will open a new browser window. It will look for the details now, but yeah, now you see that when it was looking for the price, it did not find anything because, well, there were no details for the price here. So we get an exception called common dot exceptions dot no such element exception. That is why I made you guys import common up here, because we'll need that to handle this exception. So what we're going to actually do is, one second, yeah, so what we want to do is we will try to get the price here, but in case we get except exception, okay, not exception, except not available, we'll set the value for not available above, except not available. So we're going to say not available, and we're going to set that equal to common dot exceptions dot no such element exception, which is the same exception we got here. So except not available, which is going to say price, and we're going to just set that equal to 2 dashes maybe. So this is how we use the try one for data that may or may not be present. So this is how we just create the rest of them. For now, I'll just be showing you how to return just these two details, but on the GitHub repo, which I'll be putting up later, it'll have the code to get all the details. Yeah, and also another thing, for the image, actually to get a link to the image, it's a little different. You just can't right click and get the link to the image, because if you, one second, is this the image? No. Yeah, so what you want to do is inspect, one second, we have to find the image. We're going to inspect, okay, wait, this is a little complicated, but it's actually very easy but complicated at the same time. Okay, yeah, yeah, so you see this image here. So inside this div, this actually highlights the image here, but basically what we want to do is, we want only this link. If you see this link, one second, let me try to, okay, I can't highlight it, but this link, images tag na.ss1 whatever Amazon, and if you see here, it ends with a JPG, and if you hover on the link, it also shows you the image. So we actually want this link, but not the image itself. We just want the link to the image. So what we're actually going to do is, we're going to select this element as XPath, and then we'll go back to PyCharm, and then because the image is always available, we don't need to use a try statement. So we're going to say img as equal to, we're going to use the same browser.find element by XPath to find it again, but this time to get the link to the image. What we're actually going to do is img.get, we're going to use something called get property, and then we have to just pass in which property we want. If you notice here, this link is given in the src parameter here, or whatever it is called in HTML, I'm not sure. So it is this one, so it is the src property. So what we want to do is, we want to get those details, and then what we can do is just print out img link, and we're also going to print out price here. and in if this is one, we want to print out price here too. Okay, print. Now if you save this and if you run this again, it will open another browser window. So yeah, here you see the link to the image, and if you click on it, you get the link to the correct image. So just close that. Yeah, and as you can see here, the price here, because we had no price available on this website, no price was given to us. But if we now search for, let's say, Alexa again, and we pass in, where is that one, with I want one with price. Yes, okay, we'll just use, yeah, this one. So what, just remove ref again, and what we can do is just copy the link again, and we're just going to change the link that we use here, and what you want to do is just save this and run it again. So it's going to go here, get the details, and then print it out on the console again. Okay, and we have the details printed out here. But another thing, sometimes what happens is the browser may or may not close after doing all of that. So because you don't want to eat or use more of a RAM, so what we're just going to call browser.close at the end when we get all our details. And as you can see, yeah, we got the price, we got the link to the image, which is this one, and then we also get the name. Now we can just comment this out, because we don't actually need this. This is a function we have written for the API. So what we'll do here is, at the end we want to return, actually we're going to let that print, and then we're going to create another dictionary called data, and we're going to set that equal to, and we're going to say name. So name of the product will be the name, and then we want the price parameter to be price, and then we want the link underscore to underscore image, and I'm going to send that to img link, and then we're going to actually return data. Okay, no semicolons, we are not using Python. Now when this since we have already written the scraper here and we already have our function, but we need to do one thing, we need to import it in the api.py file. So we're going to import a scraper, and here where we put the command run web scraper, we're going to say get one second, scraper dot get info, and we're going to pass in the URL, and then this will actually return a URL, the data dictionary which we gave here. There's another thing we can do. We, instead of doing this and then creating a new this thing, what do you say, instead of creating a new dictionary, what we can do is, before this we're going to say response equal to, so this will actually create so response will actually become the dictionary which we return here, and then what this will do is it will add a field to that dictionary called URL, and its value will be the URL will be passed here, and then we'll just encode it as JSON and return it again on the website. So what we can do is we can run this again. Okay, sorry, that was the wrong one. Yeah, we're going to change to Flask API and run that. Okay, now we have it running here, and we are going to do it for this product again. I'm going to put a request to http 127.0.0.1, which is our local host, at port 5000, and then our root was API slash Amazon, and then we're going to add an argument called URL. I'm going to set that equal to the URL which you wanted. If you put this request, it will take some time. As you can see, my browser window opens again. That means the backend is working. So now it will do this. It will get all the details. Yeah, and now it should return the details in a moment. Yeah, and as you can see, it returns all the detail. So we get our name here, the price here, and the link to the image and the URL of the product. So that's all for the first part, guys. You can use this to create API for any website, means obviously the returning data part, and the web scraper is similar to the one I used in the Pokemon Design Word. Mentioned it several times, but just telling you guys again. So that's all for this video, and in the second part of this video I'll show you how to create a mobile application to actually use the backend we have created. Actually on mobile, if you give the link, you might as well view it on the Amazon mobile app, but it's just a learning experience for us, and just as a concept, I'll just be showing it to you guys on mobile. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.